Hi there, it's been a while. Welcome to Dungeon Dives, where we'll be going over everything you need to know for your first time in Zul'Gurub. In the description of this video, there will be timestamps to specific parts in the video you might be looking for. But before we talk about the raid, let's talk about the rep. With ZG release, there's a new rep grind for the Zandalar tribe, who look a lot worse for wear compared to their BFA counterparts. To gain rep with the Zandalar, you need to kill bosses, loot coins, and bijous inside the instance and turn them into the Zandalar on the island. Coins and bijous are not soulbound, so they can be bought and sold on the auction house as well. Notable rep rewards from the Zandalar tribe is this recipe for the Bloodvine set for warlocks, enchants, potions, and essence mangoes. You will also collect tier tokens and random trinket items that can be turned in at the island for tier gear and trinkets. Now, with all that out of the way, we can delve into the ancient troll city of Zul'Gurub. Zul'Gurub is a 20-man instance that is typically considered to be the catch-up raid, where you can get some good gear that will get you raid ready for places like Blackwing Lair onward. Now on private servers, this place was a lot more difficult. In Classic, it's a cakewalk if you have a competent group of players, but it's fun nonetheless. Despite being the catch-up raid, geared players will still want to run this place for enchants, notable pieces of gear, and some mounts. In order to kill the last boss, you're going to need to kill all of the high priests in the instance, but there are an additional 4 optional bosses here to kill as well. All of the high priests can drop this loot. So, yeah, pause the video if you're interested in that. For starters, we'll make our way to the high priest Jeklik. We're gonna go to the bat boss. On our way there are these bat packs, and the riders explode, so melee need to stay far, far away. Clear the room, and you can face the first boss.
Look it! It's freaking bats. I love Halloween.
Keep the boss where she spawns, and have your range stay far away to avoid the silence ability that does damage. Make sure no DPS stand in front of the boss to avoid her swoop ability that deals damage to the area in front of her. Waves of bats will spawn all throughout the fight, and you have to AoE them down. Lastly, she will charge anyone relatively close to her and do an AoE damage/silence. Keep a ranged DPS, preferably a hunter, a shorter distance from her than the rest of the main party of ranged classes to soak this ability. In her troll form, she'll have a bunch of priest abilities. Shadow Word Pain will need to be dispelled, a heal that needs to be interrupted, a Chain Mind Flay that needs to be interrupted, and an AoE Fear. Bats will also drop fire during this phase. Don't stand in it. She's pretty easy, and this is the loot that you'll get. On our way to the next boss, while traveling you'll run into the axe throwers that do some AoE damage when they spin! If this damage is too much for your party, they can be interrupted by having a polymorph be casted on them. Clear out all of the snakes in the next room, and then you can face the next boss.
Cause I'm a snake. I'm a slither. Look at my tongue.
On pull, keep the boss away from the rest of your raid because he'll do a Holy Nova, which is an AoE spell. He also has a Chain Lightning type of spell on anyone within 10 yards, so have your melee stay far, far away because this can instantly kill a big chunk of your raid if you aren't careful. At 50%, he'll turn into a slithery little snake that farts green clouds, so the tank needs to continually kite the boss around the room to avoid standing in said fart cloud. He drops this loot. Now we can go to the next boss, just follow this route to make your way there. Clear out everything in the spider room, and then we can face High Priest Marley.
Oh shit! A spy! There's a spy! Where to my Tims? There's a spy! Where to my Tims?
In her troll form, this boss does an AoE poison that needs to be cleansed. Shamans with their poison cleansing totem are phenomenal here, by the way. She'll also have a drain life that needs to be interrupted, and spider ads that need to be killed. The longer these spider ads are alive, the stronger they get, so these are your top priority as a DPS. When she turns into a spider, she'll root all of the melee and have all of her aggro wiped. causing her to charge into the range. Have an off tank be able to grab her and bring her back into the rooted melee. Another option for the alliance is paladins can cast Blessing of Freedom on the tank so they can grab the boss and bring them back into melee. Do all that and she should be dead. She drops this loot. On our way to the next target, you have to face these Gurabashi blood drinkers. These guys are annoying because they suck the life from all players around them, which heals them for a lot. They also drain life from friendly targets near them, which also heals them, so just tank these adds far away from everybody else and just have ranged DPS kill them. There are also these guards, and they do a nasty knockback, so don't get thrown into additional packs. The next boss is our first optional boss, and probably my favorite boss, and it's Bloodlord Mandokir. This boss comes with a raptor ad that has a sunder effect and will need to be tanked by an off-tank. From what we've seen on the PTR, you can just focus down the boss and ignore the raptor until the boss is dead. But if for some reason this doesn't work because your healers suck, you can focus down the ad, but doing so will make the boss deal increased damage for 1 minute. The most important ability Bloodlord Mandokir has is Threatening Gaze. He will pick a random member of the raid and announce that he is watching them.
What the fuck are you looking at?
If this character moves, casts a spell, or really does anything, he will kill them instantly.
I'll end you!
Bloodlord will also charge a random DPS that is far away from the group, so once again have a hunter or some other ranged DPS be far away from the group to bait this ability. This charge also wipes aggro, so have an off tank be prepared to pick up the boss if need be. The boss also has a cleave, whirlwind, and a fear. So you can see how this fight gets a little crazy, but if you die, you will be rezzed by one of the ghosts that are around the room. But each time someone dies, the boss gains XP. The more people that die, the more he will level up and deal increased damage and take reduced damage. But stay calm, work with your team, and he should be dead, and this is the loot that he drops. Now we can head to our second optional boss, which is the Edge of Madness. On our way there, we can find these imp guys. Be careful because when they are killed, they will spawn 2 elite Voidwalkers. So, the Edge of Madness can be done if you have the Gurabashi Mojo Madness to summon the boss. This potion can be crafted by alchemists, and the items needed to craft it is 1 Blood of Heroes, 1 Massive Mojo, 1 Black Lotus, and 6 Powerful Mojo. These potions can also be bought and sold on the auction house. The reason why you do this Edge of Madness event / boss is because the items that drop from the bosses are required to get the Zandalar trinkets that I was talking about earlier in the video. And speaking of bosses, there are 4 possible bosses that can be summoned. Wushile summons lightning clouds that you need to move out of, and Stay Spread to stop his chain lightning spell from damaging multiple players. It's pretty much just the snake boss. For some reason, in my model viewer, Hazara looks exactly the same as Wushile. I really have no idea why. Hazara has an AoE mana burn attack that can be countered by mana burning him instead, which is really effective because of his small mana pool. So have your hunters, warlocks, and priests be focused on reducing his mana as fast as possible. He will also summon illusions that target random members of the raid. Kill them as fast as possible, they have a very small health pool. He also has an AoE sleep, so have ranged and healers stay far away. Grelek is just a tank and spank boss. Another editor's note, yes, this is seriously what my model viewer brings up when I look up Renataki. He doesn't look like this in game. I promise. Renataki is pretty easy. The thing that you need to watch out for is he'll vanish and appear behind a random member of the raid and ambush them, but he can be brought out of his stealth with AoE damage. He's another very easy boss. By the way, this is all the loot that they drop. As a reminder, you will be only fighting 1 of these bosses each week. This next part was copywritten, so now I have to do a cover of the song so the video doesn't get claimed. What a beautiful cat. 'Cause I saw tigers, now I understand. 'Cause I saw tigers, Jagger saw a man. High Priest Thekal is our next boss. This boss is in 2 phases. Phase 1, you need to fight Thekal, Lorhan, and Zath, and Tiger ads all at the same time. Kill the tigers first. Have 3 tanks pull all of the bosses away from each other. Lorhan needs to be especially far away so he doesn't heal his friends. Zealot Zath has a gouge and a blind that he can use on the tank, so either have another off tank for the off tank, or have DPS kite him while the tank is stunned. And all of these bosses can also be disarmed. They all need to die at the same time, so get them all to 10% and then bring them together in the middle to AoE them down. In Phase 2, Thekal will come back as the Tiger King himself, and at this point you need to burst him down as fast as possible. More Tiger ads will spawn that you'll either need to CC or kill, and the most notable ability is called Force Punch. Position yourself here because it knocks everyone back and causes the main tank to lose aggro. Have 2 tanks here for this fight, so when Force Punch is used, the other tank can pick it up. Another boss down, and he drops this loot. The next target can only be summoned by the most expert of anglers. At this abandoned camp, there is a quest item called Nat's Measuring Tape. Turn this into Nat Pagel in Dustwallow Marsh, and then you can purchase the Mud Skunk Lure from him. With the lure, you can fish up Zulian mud skunks from the muddy, churning water pools in Zul'Gurub. You can catch these fish with 300 fishing skill, but most of the fish will get away, so it's recommended that you are well above it. Once you collect 5 fish, go back to the camp, cast your lure, and Ghaz'ranka will be summoned. The fight itself is very easy if you clear out all the fish in the deep water next to the camp and tank him underwater so his knockup ability does virtually nothing. Gaz drops the coolest loot in the instance, like an eye patch, a tome for mages so they can polymorph people into turtles instead of sheep, and Nat Pagel's Fish Terminator. High Priestess Arlokk is going to be in the temple just up the hill. And to spawn her, you need to bang the gong deep within the temple. When you press the gong, she will spawn instantly, so be ready to pick her up. In her troll form, you will need 2 tanks because she will gouge the one she is targeting, and non-elite panther ads will spawn that you can just ignore and CC and just continue the tunnel of the boss. She will place a mark on a random target, and this will cause all the panther ads to focus them. Just kite away from them and use your CC and kill some if need be to survive. At some point in the fight, she will disappear, and this is when you focus down all of the ads. She will reappear and attack a random player, and this burst of damage can easily kill Clothies. So in order to counter this, you can face your back against the pen wall, and she will spawn on the other side. This tactic worked on the PTR, so it will most likely work after release. With another easy boss down, she drops this loot. On to the second to last boss, which is Jin'do the Hexer, which is another excellent fight. And before you engage him, just clear out the whole room, especially the mobs by the pit for reasons I will explain soon. So Jin'do has a lot of abilities, so get ready. First, he can cast 2 different totems next to him. One is a brainwash totem that mind controls the nearest target, and the other is a healing word totem that will heal him. These are the DPS's top priorities when they spawn. He will also randomly teleport a raid member into the pit full of skeletons.
Jump in the pit!
Get out of the pit and back to your friends as soon as possible. You're also going to want a mage or a warlock, keeping an eye on this pit so when people get teleported, they can AoE all of those skeletons down. Jin'do will also do a hex on the main tank. So druids, this is your time to shine, because as a bear you cannot get hexed. But if you have warrior tanks instead, you're going to want 2 of them. The most important part of this boss is that he'll summon these shades of Jin'do. These ghosts deal shadow damage and interrupt spellcasting, and the only people that can see these shades are people affected by the delusions of Jin'do curse. It's important that you don't decurse these players so they can kill the shades. If there are no shades left, then they can be decursed. With another boss down, you get this loot.
Pride heralds the end of your world. Come, mortals,
face the wrath of the Soul Flayer.
The Hakkar fight revolves around his ability called Blood Siphon. He will suck the life out of the raid and gain health. But if you have icky poison blood, it will deal damage to him instead. The way you get icky poison blood is by having, preferably a hunter, pull one of these Sons of Hakkar from the platforms below. Kill the ad just before Blood Siphon, and have your whole raid stand in the fart cloud that is produced when a sun dies. And then Hakkar will suck up your icky blood, and deal damage to himself. The other abilities that he has is the infamous Corrupted Blood, which deals damage to the player and spreads to other players that are close to them. Will of Hakkar will mind control someone, and Cause Insanity will also mind control people, but they will move faster and deal more damage. At 5%, Hakkar will enrage and just start doing crazy damage. Just persevere, and the Soul Flare will be slayed once more. And with that, Zul'Gurub is defeated. Enjoy all the sick gear you got, coins you gathered, and tokens you collected, and just be prepared to do it all over again in like 3 days.